Gregor Samsa is a traveling salesman. That's mainly all there is to his life, besides a small, boring room and a picture he cut out of a lady dressed in fur. He works hard at his job, almost like a soldier loyal to his country, except here, he's loyal to the company, especially his chief. He doesn't really like the chief personally at all, but he works hard for him. Why? Because his family is in debt to this chief of his, and Gregor's working to help pay off the debt. He's been at this for a while now, trying to pay off the debts that loom over his father, mother, and sister. But one morning, something puts a stop to his usual daily work routine. He awakes only to find that he's transformed into an insect. Now, it's not specified exactly what insect he is, but we're given some clues. He has a hard shell back and is described at one point as a brown mass. We can infer from this that he might have transformed into a cockroach or a beetle, although Kafka himself has never clarified anything. Now, after finding himself transformed into this insect, you might think that he'd have quite a shock, which he does, but he almost immediately starts thinking about how this metamorphosis is gonna jeopardize his situation at work. He's gonna miss his train, and the chief is gonna get pretty upset with him, even if he's had perfect attendance up until now. Over the course of the story, his family members and even a chief clerk come to try to get him out of his room. While Gregor hides in his room and struggles to do anything at all given his new body, his mother tries to appeal to the chief clerk to help Gregor keep his job even with this hiccup. The boy thinks about nothing but his work. It makes me almost cross the way he never goes out in the evenings. The only amusement he gets is doing fret work. Unfortunately though, the chief clerk is not very sympathetic to missing a single day. Although on the other hand, I must say that we men of business, fortunately or unfortunately, very often simply have to ignore any slight indisposition since business must be attended to. Gregor finally opens the door, desperate to save his job. He pleads with the chief clerk, saying he'll put on his clothes, grab some samples, and head straight for the next train, completely blown past the minor inconvenient fact that he is now an insect. The chief clerk runs out and Gregor's father chases Gregor back into his room. The next couple of days are filled with the family shunning Gregor. Not maliciously, but almost out of fear or confusion or just a reluctancy to deal with his situation. There is an exception though, his sister Greta, who brings him food and silently works to try to make his living situation better. One day she's cleaning out his room to make more room for him to scuttle around in, but he desperately clings onto that picture he cut out of the woman in furs. His mother catches a glimpse of him and she passes out. This upsets his father, who throws apples at him until one of them gets lodged into his back. Things are not looking good for Gregor, but while he stays the same, living in pain, the family is undergoing a metamorphosis of their own. The father has taken a job at a bank, and he gets a spiffy looking uniform. The mom is suing things for a firm, and the daughter is working as a sales girl. They've also had to fire their servant girl, the cook, and now they've taken in renters for some extra income. They've fulfilled to the uttermost all that the world demands of poor people. The father fetched breakfast for the small clerks in the bank. The mother devoted her energy to making underwear for strangers. The sister trotted to and fro behind the counter at the behest of customers. Now regarding these renters, they didn't know about Gregor initially, until he poked his insecty head out and freaked him out. So they get the heck out of there, as any reasonable renter would. Don't pretend to be holier than thou. If you saw a giant bug in a room, you'd get out. So now the family is figuring out what to do, and Gregor's sister seems to turn his back on him. He must go. That's the only solution, father. You must just try to get rid of the idea that this is Gregor. If this were Gregor, he would have realized long ago that human beings can't live with such a creature, and he'd have gone away on his own accord. Gregor, feeling depressed, defeated, and hopeless, scurries off to his room to die alone by choice. The family finds out, and after gathering themselves, decide to have a day off to rest. They're on this tram and they reflect on the jobs they have now and their prospects, and they think the future looks pretty bright, and that is the metamorphosis. It's a very strange and depressing story, sure, and you can get enjoyment from that fact alone. But what does it all mean? How do you understand what this work is trying to say? Obviously, with a work this strange, there have been multiple interpretations over the years by scholars and authors and philosophers. And this being a philosophy channel, I feel compelled to cover some of the philosophy in this book, specifically in the realm of existentialism. Existentialism generally posits that there is no objective meaning to life, and by that fact, we must create meaning ourselves. We've been given this freedom to act, and we must try to act with authenticity, to be true to ourselves and how we want to live. Gregor Samsa is not living living an authentic life. He's living a life dictated by others. Gregor is devoted to his job and the chief that he hates because he lives in total service of his family. He wants to help his sister succeed in life, and he also wants to pay off his parents' debt. Now, we might be sympathetic and say, what person wouldn't want their family to be successful and debt-free? I mean, it's one thing to live authentically, but it's another to disregard your family. True, but we need to look at the circumstances of this family. For this section of the video, just think through the lens of finances. I know this sounds like it has nothing to do with philosophy, but trust me, there's a method to my madness. So for our costs, there's a debt that can be attributed to the parents, and Gregor's sister Greta wants to go to a special school for violin. Both require savings. Let's also throw in some general living expenses. So these are our costs. But what about the money coming in? It's coming from just one person, Gregor. Now when it comes to those living expenses, it's revealed the family is both a cook and a servant girl. Now, maybe I'm just being too modern, but I consider these as luxuries and not required living expenses. And yet Gregor's income is going to them. Next, let's talk about the costs associated with others, the parents' debt and Greta's violin school. It's later revealed after the metamorphosis that all three family members are perfectly capable of working. In fact, at the very end of the story, they consider their jobs and predict that their future looks bright. All of this is to say that Gregor is not simply supporting his family in need, because his family is not in need. They're quite capable of going about without him. Gregor has sacrificed his entire life for the family. He's like a household appliance, like a dishwasher. No will of its own, simply there to be used by someone else. So I think it's safe to say that existentialism would be against this sort of lifestyle. A life where you completely and totally give your life over to another, when you don't really have to. You aren't saving lives or anything, you're just being used. It's ironic that Gregor is the one who transforms into an insect, because really this entire time the Samsa family has been parasitically living off Gregor, even when they're perfectly capable of surviving on their own. With that being said, how can we learn from the story? What lessons can we take away? Should we just be a selfish asshole from now on and truly live authentically? Nah, as a matter of fact, there's nothing contradictory about helping others and living authentically. But we should consider the specifics of the situation, and we should have our generosity come from a place of authenticity, true authenticity. Because Gregor seems like he wants to support his family, but he also talks about how he dislikes his job and wants to call it quits. Despite this, he clings to his job, even wanting to go to work despite turning into an insect. If given the choice, the true choice with the family out of the picture, I don't think Gregor would keep working at this job. Consider that for yourself. Consider what you truly want from life and how you could live authentically. Do this, or else you might turn into an insect. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for more philosophy content. And with that, I wish you all a beautiful rest of your day.